For centuries, this money could not be hacked, it could not be printed, it could not be rushed. Every single unit demanded time, hours, sometimes days, not because of law, but because of labor. This currency built alliances, it ended wars, it preserved treaties, it stored memory itself. Then a new technology arrived, not guns, not armies, a drill, and later, glass. What happens when money designed to be slow suddenly becomes fast? What happens when scarcity disappears? And what if one of the earliest economic collapses in North America was not caused by greed, but by innovation? This is the story of how glass beads destroyed an economy. The world before collapse. Long before banks, long before central mints, long before paper promises, indigenous nations of the eastern woodlands relied on a currency called wampum. Wampum was not abstract, it was physical, it was heavy with meaning. Purple and white beads carved from quahog shells, each bead drilled by hand, each bead polished slowly. Stone tools, human breath, human time. Scarcity was enforced by physics itself. You could not rush wampum, you could not fake effort, and because of that, trust formed naturally. Wampum was money, but it was also law, diplomacy, history recorded in shell, strings marked events, belts sealed treaties. This was a financial system without a central bank, yet with absolute credibility. And for generations, it worked. Money that carries memory is harder to destroy than money that carries numbers. Europeans enter the system. In the early 1600s, Europeans arrived with silver coins, but not enough of them. Colonial economies expanded faster than coin shipments. Trade stalled, taxes piled up, wages went unpaid. So something unexpected happened. Colonists adopted wampum, not as a novelty, as legal tender. Colonial governments fixed exchange rates between wampum and silver. Shell money entered Atlantic trade networks. For a moment, two financial worlds aligned. Scarcity remained intact, value held, trust survived contact. No monetary system survives contact with better tools. How wampum kept its value? Wampum worked for one simple reason. Supply was constrained. Every bead represented irreversible human labor. Drilling shell with stone tools was slow. Break a bead, lose hours. This was proof of work before the concept had a name. No ruler could declare new beads into existence. No council could vote supply increases. Nature and time enforced discipline. This is the oldest rule of sound money. When supply grows slowly and predictably, trust compounds until someone finds a shortcut. The first disruption, metal tools. Europeans brought metal drills. What once took hours now took minutes. The labor floor collapsed. At first, it seemed harmless. More beads meant more trade, more liquidity, more growth. But something subtle shifted. Production became easier. Supply accelerated. Trust lagged behind. Colonial authorities noticed. Exchange rates were adjusted. Wampum was officially devalued. The signal was clear. Scarcity was weakening. Inflation never arrives loudly. It arrives quietly. The second disruption, glass. Then came the real break. Glass beads imported from Europe, perfectly shaped, perfectly colored, nearly indistinguishable from shell, produced at near zero marginal cost. What centuries of cultural enforcement protected was bypassed by manufacturing. This was not theft. It was not traditional fraud. It was technological counterfeiting. The rules changed without warning. Supply exploded. The monetary base flooded. When money becomes easy, it becomes fragile. Peak industrial wampum. By the 19th century, wampum was no longer slow. It was industrial. Factories mechanized production. In New Jersey, the Campbell family scaled it fully. More than 1 million beads per year. Millions. Against a system designed for thousands. This was hyperinflation without paper. No speeches, no declarations, just output and more output and more output. Hyperinflation does not require printing presses, only excess. Collapse when trust breaks. Value collapsed first as a store of wealth. Why save beads that lost purchasing power every season? Trade slowed. Treaty belts lost authority. Diplomatic records lost weight. A monetary collapse became a cultural collapse, not because wampum failed, but because its scarcity guarantee was destroyed. Once anyone could make it, no one could trust it. When money fails, it never fails alone. Consequences. Who paid the price? Indigenous economies paid the price. Savings evaporated. Trade leverage vanished. Economic independence eroded. Colonial systems moved on. Indigenous systems were left with a broken unit of account. This was not just inflation, it was monetary displacement. A trusted system replaced by one it could not compete against. Inflation is a tax. Displacement is a takeover. Modern relevance. This story is not ancient. It repeats whenever technology bypasses scarcity, whenever money can be created faster than trust, whenever difficulty disappears. years. This has happened with metal coins, with paper money, with digital credit, and now with code. Innovation is never the question. Preparedness is. Every modern financial system is one innovation away from its own glass beads. Final takeaway. Wampum teaches a brutal financial rule. Money is not defined by what it's made of. It is defined by how hard it is to make more of it. Scarcity is not decoration. It is the foundation. Once difficulty is removed, value follows it into collapse. Technology does not need bad intentions to destroy money. It only needs efficiency. That is why this story matters today, because every modern financial system is one innovation away from its own glass beads.